Imagine being crowned world champion as a 17-year-old rookie, hailed as the future of darts, and then turning a £1 childhood obsession into a £1 million payday, only to discover that the louder your victories, the more the world wants you to lose. Luke Littler's breakthrough looked like every underdog's dream, but when success arrived too fast, everything changed. Why did the cheers become boos? And what drives someone to keep winning when adoration flips into hostility? The answer begins with a pound shop dartboard and an impossible rise. Luke Littler was born on January 21st, 2007 in Warrington, where his father drove a taxi and his mother worked in a candle shop. At just 18 months old, a £1 magnetic dartboard from the local pound shop landed in the family home. That simple toy became the centre of Luke's world. By the age of 6, he hit his first 180. At 10, he was already playing in under 21 leagues, facing adults twice his size. By 13, he stunned everyone at St Helens Academy with a perfect 9-dart finish. In those early years, darts was not a path to fame or fortune. It was a way to pass the time in a small house in Warrington. But the hours added up. Luke's parents watched as their son turned a childhood obsession into a daily routine, practicing throws until his arm ached. There were no guarantees, just a quiet belief that talent and hard work might open a door. December 2023 brought the first real test. At 16, Luke entered the PDC World Championship at Alexandra Palace. The bookmakers put him at 66-1, ranked 164th in the world. Most expected an early exit. Instead, he toppled legends, Raymond van Barneveld and then Rob Cross. Each win sent shockwaves through the crowd. The Ally Pally erupted for the unknown teenager from Warrington. The final against Luke Humphreys ended in heartbreak, a 7-4 defeat, but 4.8 million people tuned in across the UK. Littlemania swept the country. Kids begged for dartboards. Phil Taylor, the sport's greatest, called Luke the future. Google named him the most searched athlete in Britain. The BBC handed him the Young Sports Personality of the Year award. In the space of a month, Luke Littler went from local prodigy to national sensation. His journey from a £1 dartboard to the world stage, inspiring a new generation of fans. Turning professional in January 2024, Luke Littler entered the PDC Premier League at just 17 years and 123 days old. The world watched as the teenager stepped onto the biggest stages, not as a novelty, but as a threat. In the Premier League final, he made history with a perfect 9-darter, a feat most players chase their entire careers. That single throw electrified the arena and sent a message across the sport. The youngest major champion ever had arrived. By November, Luke had already lifted 10 titles, a rookie record, and banked over £1.5 million in prize money. His run at the Grand Slam was nothing short of ruthless. He dismantled Martin Lukeman 16-3, barely giving his opponent a chance to breathe. Each win added to the sense that this was not just a hot streak. It was the start of something the old guard would have to reckon with. The numbers kept climbing, averages that rivaled the sport's legends, a relentless tally of 180 scores, and a growing pile of trophies. Every week brought another headline, another record, another paycheck. For most players, a solid debut year means breaking into the top 32. Luke was rewriting expectations entirely. On January 3, 2025, Alexandra Palace filled with anticipation. Michael van Gerwen, a 3-time world champion, stood between Luke and immortality. The teenager delivered under the brightest lights, defeating van Gerwen 7-3. At 17 years and 347 days old, Luke became the youngest world champion in darts history. That night, he walked away with £500,000 and the world #2 ranking. The journey from pound shop dartboard to global stardom had gathered unstoppable speed. The question was no longer whether he belonged. It was how far he could go. 6 major trophies in a single season. That is what Luke Littler brought home in 2025. The UK Open, World Match Play, and World Grand Prix each added another layer to his legend. The Grand Slam, he did not just defend his title, he made it look routine. By the end of the year, the Premier League table showed a number no one had ever reached, 45 points, with 6 nightly wins. The youngest to achieve it, and the most dominant, all before his 19th birthday. But the more Luke won, the less forgiving the world became. In October, after dispatching Mike De Decker, he called the match boring. That single word rippled through the darts community. Dutch veteran Bert van der Voort did not hold back, calling Luke's comment inappropriate and disrespectful. The press picked up the story and the tone around Luke began to shift. He was no longer the plucky kid everyone wanted to see succeed. He was the favourite, and favourites do not get the benefit of the doubt. November brought another milestone. At just 18 years and 299 days, Luke Littler became the youngest world number 1 in darts history, pulling £81,500 ahead of Luke Humphreys. The records kept coming, but so did the friction. Admiration was giving way to irritation, and the cheers that once lifted him started to sound more like grumbles in the crowd. December 29th, 2025. Alexandra Palace, packed to the rafters, watched as Luke Littler faced Rob Cross in a World Championship showdown. The numbers told one story: a 3-dart average of 106.58, 17 maximums, a clinical display of darts at the highest level. But the sound inside the arena told another story. Every time Luke landed another maximum, the boost grew louder. Where chants of Littler, Littler once filled the air, now there was a wall of noise for Rob Cross, the underdog, the crowd's chosen hero for the night. Luke did not shrink from the hostility. After closing out another relentless leg, he turned to the stands and shouted, "What now?" The message was unmistakable. Later, in the heat of post-match adrenaline, he went further. "You are paying for my prize money. Thank you for my money." The words ricocheted across social media within minutes. Some called it arrogance. Others saw a teenager, just 18, standing his ground in the face of thousands who wanted him to fail. Online, the backlash was instant. One post read, "Arrogance ain't good to watch." Another said, "Success has gone to your head." For the first time, Luke admitted, "I lost it. It was the first time the World Championship crowd has not wanted me to win." On a night when his darts were untouchable, the affection that once lifted him had turned to open rejection. January 3rd, 2026, Alexandra Palace. Luke Littler, 18 years old, stands across from Jan van Veen. It is the youngest championship final the sport has ever seen. The numbers from that night almost defy belief. Luke averaged 105.97, hammered in 15 180s, and finished with a 170 checkout. The legendary Big Fish. The scoreboard read 7-1. For the first time, the winner's check hit £1 million. With that single victory, his career prize money soared to £2.77 million. Days later, a 10-year sponsorship deal worth £20 million landed on his table, the largest contract in darts history. Van Veen summed up what everyone in the arena felt: unplayable. I left double after 12 darts, didn't get another chance. But as the confetti settled, the celebration felt strangely muted. An Irish columnist mocked Luke's physique, calling him born with a beer belly, assembled from Phil Taylor DNA and a buxom barmaid. Headlines dissected his every gesture, while a legal article warned he was being adultified, judged as if he were 40, not 18. On his 18th birthday, Luke went home and played Xbox alone. He said, "Just do something at home, gave myself the best present winning worlds." For all the records and riches, greatness had become a solitary pursuit, shadowed by voices that refused to let him simply be young. Right now, an 18-year-old sits atop the darts world, rewriting records and collecting millions, yet he faces jeers instead of cheers. When unprecedented talent meets public discomfort, the real test is not on stage. It is in how we choose to celebrate or to condemn greatness. Where do you stand?